Hello again, it's Mr. Pete, your YouTube shop teacher, and this is episode 74A of my What Is It series, and in this case it's more unknown items than it is tools. So here is what I have for you today. Now this is just the question portion, so watch in 1 week for the answers. And I think these are kind of interesting items. I just came across these two items very recently at a garage sale. I may have shown them in another video, but I did not tell you what they were. And when I bought them, I wasn't sure what they were anyway. But I thought they were interesting. So let's get started here. But first, let's take a look at the Starrett surface gauge and rehash that and beat that to death a little bit. And then we'll be with number one. Okay, before we get started with the mystery items, the mystery tools, let's back up here and talk again about this. I know I've beaten the subject to death in regards to the finial here on the Starrett and other brands of surface gauges. Now, many people said that it was to protect you from getting poked, and you park the curved point in the neck of this little finial. And that sounds sensible, but you know, it's kind of hard to believe because, let's get realistic, nobody's going to do that. But you can see here that I've been poked so many times over the years that I did put a piece of foam on there. These are really sharp. But the interesting thing is, as I told you in the previous episode, that in the latest or a more recent Starrett catalog, they stopped putting, and I'm calling it a finial, they stopped putting the finial on these, probably to save money. And a viewer, this is interesting, and I'm sorry I forgot your name, I lost it in the comments, but a viewer said to me, he got sick and tired of this, and he said, I'm just going to the source. So he actually telephone called the Starrett company in Athol, Massachusetts. I'm not sure he talked to, who he talked to, but the person finally came up with, we don't really know. We stopped doing it, and we think it's just a finial. So if the Starrett people itself do not have an answer for that and are now no longer using it, we know that it was strictly decorative, and it is beautiful. They put a finial on the top of every flagpole. They could just put a cap on there to keep rainwater out, but no, they make it pretty, and same with lamps and many other things over here. So that is for appearance. Final answer. Final answer. And thank you for whoever calls Starrett. That's pretty neat. Okay, what is mystery item number one? And I covered up the trademark. It doesn't actually tell what it is, but the trademark might clue you. And I know you guys are cheating by looking up the images, but that's okay too. So this was $5. No one at the garage sale knew what it was. I had kind of a hunch of what it was, and it was unmarked, and I said, I'll give you $5 for it, and they were glad to have it because nobody else even looked at it. It's rather heavy, 110 volt. It's got two jacks here, almost like phone jacks, and one of them goes to a clip, and the other goes to this handle, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not going to show you the name on here. There's a name on here also. This appears to be Bakelite. Now, I did try this out once I knew what it was, and it does not work. It does kind of light up, but I can't figure it out. I'll probably just throw it away. But if you look at the back, this was probably fairly expensive. Matter of fact, this company still makes it, but it doesn't look anything like this. It's in a modern, cheap case, I think. But I think you could select your voltage here and run it on 220 if you had a notion to. It's heavy because there's a transformer in there. The case is aluminum, appears to be industrial duty, not something that you would buy at the big old freight store. This is kind of neat. It's a handle. And it's the cooling fin, I guess you would say. I like the little, they went to the extra effort. Look at the beauty here of that base. They didn't have to do that. They could have made it just straight. They cared back then. They actually cared. It needs a new cord. It's only, no, somebody put this grounder plug on there. That's right. This is a new cord, but it seems kind of poorly done. So what is item one? And you can select from fine to deep, whatever that might mean. Okay, item one. All right, what is item 2? And the trade name is under the green tag here, and I covered that up, but it would not mean anything to you, but might allow you to look it up. No one at the garage sale knew what it was. I didn't expect them to. I bought it for $5, not only because of the curiosity. I love weird things. I actually bought it for this gear reducer here, which alone would be $100 if you had to buy it. But don't get me wrong, I'll never use it my whole life. It's quite heavy. This is aluminum base, almost like a piece of aluminum channel. Not almost, that is a piece of aluminum channel. This framework here is aluminum. And as I turn it here, and it's really geared down, but you can see that it is reciprocating, or you probably can't because it's so slow. But in the follow-up video where I give the answers, I will run this on a motor. Not that that will tell you much, but it's got 2 hoses here. Somebody cut these off right here and here. Built for heavy duty and no maintenance. There is a greaser right here. So what is this weird thing? And as soon as I do the next video, I'm tearing it apart and saving the gearbox. I'll have to find out what the ratio is on it, and the rest of the aluminum for my foundry. And look at, you got a 4-step pulley on there as well. There's also a greaser right here I forgot to mention. The overall height here is about 14 inches. What is item 2? I've had item 3 here since last fall. You might have remembered when I unpacked it. And this is not the original case. It says pocket tackle box. So somebody put this in this little box. Again, item 3. And put your guesses in the comment section if you want. So I think somebody made this. And it's going to be thrown away because nobody will know, let's face it. I don't know. But it's got a bit of a V-block here, some heavy-duty roller chain, and all of these different parts here. And they are definitely homemade. I mean, it's not a bad job, but you can also tell that it's not factory made. We've got saw marks on there and file marks and some screws and a little piece of brass for some reason. And what the heck do you think that weird thing does? And you got all of these tapped holes. I'm clueless. Item 3. All right, I've had this big old flywheel sitting on the side of my house for 30 years. I bought it at a sale, super cheap. It was in the basement of a hardware store in a little town, real decrepit stairs, and I couldn't even get it up the stairs. They were so steep, and a man helped me roll it up. It does weigh about 100 pounds. It's cast iron. It is 31 inches in diameter. But here's the mystery on this. I don't know if it's a mystery. Don't you just love those curved spokes? But for the size of this, why does it have a relatively small bore? It's 1 inch, and no keyway, just a big old set screw there, square-headed. And it's about 2 inches here at the face. Some of you will know what this is. And by the way, the rest, it came off of a machine. The rest of the machine was there, disassembled in the basement of the store, and it's probably still there. And, well, they bulldozed the place. It was such a wreck. But I'm going to lift this up now, if I can, and show you how heavy it is, and that it's not a pulley. That is, there's no groove. So it's 2 inches wide right here across the face. Like I said, no pulley groove or anything like that. And it's not wide enough to have a flat belt on it. So what do you think this was used for? Now, I'm going to give you a little hint. And that is, if Jimmy DeResta is watching, he will know what it is. Does that tell you anything at all? I just bought it because I adore these curved spokes and I like old technology. Okay, here's item 5 given to me last January by Tony Perillo. And remember, he's given me a bunch of things, so thank you for that, Tony. And it's marked HKP Incorporated, which to me means H.K. Porter. Do you recognize the mechanism and the similarity? Of course you do. On this bolt cutter. That's a bolt cutter. What is this? And the interesting thing is, now that we know who made it, you got two little notches here, and it is a coveted bell system tool. So the phone company used this, and I know that it's probably a pretty easy guess on what it is, because I've run across so many tools lately that do pretty much the function of this item. So what the heck, if you worked for the phone company, did you use number 5 for? Antiques. Well, that completes this video. And there's 5 items here. Put your guesses and your answers into the comments, and 1 week from now, whatever that date may be, I will divulge the answers. This is Mr. Pete saying so long for now, and I'll see you next time. I hope.